All right. I think we're live. We're on the Jump Ship Training YouTube channel. What's up, Corey? Another episode of Talking Ship. We're going to get into some old CrossFit media, the stuff that inspired me back in the day. And I have a very fun guest with me today, Corey Lunney, probably like a 17 times regionals athlete. I don't know the actual number. How many times have you been to regionals?
2014 through 18.
And what was your best finish?
I think like 12th. I think it was like 2015.
So then, pretty legit,
yeah. Mid-level.
I mean,
it was
back
cool.
then.
Yeah,
dude. Back then, this is like again talking glory days is what the show's about. But like getting to regionals through the Open was like sick because the Open, which is coming up, we could talk about that for a second, used to mean so damn much. We used to take it so serious. We used to we're both in the Northeast, and I wasn't competing ever, but like trying to help you, or even before we worked together, like sweating what the other athletes are doing for scores and getting rumors and rep shaving and video manipulation. Like the fucking cutthroatness of the past Open was the best.
It was crazy. I was talking about it like literally yesterday with someone, how those 5 weeks would make or break your entire year. So if you had one bad workout or one bad week, like your whole year was done. So the stress was a next level.
Dude, but that's how it should be, right? That's what gets people pumped up. Like gym owners, competitors, we have to like go all in on the Open at that point, like our season starting. And that's what the rest of the community felt, our like nerves and our pressure and our excitement. And that's what got other people in. Now that nobody gives a shit about the Open because there's no consequence to it, how am I supposed to bring that high level energy to convince my regular members to sign up and do the Open? How do I bring, how? Tell me.
Yeah. Dude, the half hour before the Open announcement, I'll never be able to recreate those nerves ever again.
Oh my God. Dude, that was like, it's better than waiting for the Super Bowl to kick off every year, dude, over and over again.
I'm getting like butterflies actually thinking about those moments. Like you were like, oh, what's it going to be?
Waiting. And Dave would draw it on and he would tease you that he's going to announce it. Then he'd go to some stupid commercial for Innovate or something like that. And then tease you again. Yeah, dude, those were literally the days, that hype. Like, I don't know what they're going to have to do to bring it back, but the fact that we have to talk about this and the people at the top are not getting that. I mean, I think they're a little bit because they're bringing Dave back, right? He's going to do one announcement this year, but like that set the stage for the greatest season. It just made it so cool. And I think like even the shit we used to bitch about constantly, like the rep shaving, the shit range of motion, the negativity that goes with it, that was all part of like the fun and being in it too, right? Like the drama that it built and like the emotions you felt, like that was all part of the experience.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not like obviously at that level of competitiveness anymore, but I haven't felt anything close to the 2018 season since I've done it. So like,
Dude, I mean, it won't. Damn, I hope they figure out how to bring something like that back, but I don't know what's going to take.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that'll be the way that's set up now. Maybe quarterfinals because it's important, but it's only one weekend, so I feel like it's not drawn out. That's what's going to get you to semis, which is the new regionals. So it's
It's not the same in the sense that it's one weekend that like most of your gym members are not participating in.
Yeah.
So for you to have like that gym community that brings 40 people in to each bring a potluck meal and watch the 3 people in your gym that qualified for it, like that's not a small app to put that together. Whereas in the Open, everyone's playing. So like, you run your community heats and then like people are building up for like your studs to go and everyone's going to like just hoot and holler and have a great time. And, half the guys are drinking beers and it's like that atmosphere is not being represented. And that's
no way.
The atmosphere.
That's gone. If anything, it's gone so far as the other way where the top athletes need an empty gym. They need it completely serious. Like, and I get that side of it being at like that level. Like I was kind of a prima donna with some of the Open workouts, but it's so far away from that shared experience that it doesn't even resonate that anymore, replicate it at all.
Yep, I feel you. And don't get me wrong, everyone still gets to participate, but when it means something, again, I think the energy of when it means something to get from the Open to the next stage was really what drove everything.
Yeah.
And you just
can't
replicate it.
It was 20 spots. You can't make up that level of competitiveness, that tightness.
Even when it was 40 spots, or I think it might even get 60 or 48 maybe it was. Yeah, it was a ton of spots one year, and still you were kicking and clawing for one of those spots. It was, I mean, you knew it. We'd have conversations where it's like, you think you can squeeze out 3 more thrusters because that's 40 points probably that you like.
I just redid 18.1 like 2 days ago. Well, I kind of redid it. We didn't have enough rowers in class, so I used the Echo Bike. But I was thinking about when we did it, that was the 20-minute AMRAP of the row, hang dumbbell, clean and jerk, and the toe to bar.
Yep.
And I got like, I don't know, somewhere like close to 13 rounds the first time. I got like 19 more reps my redo, and it was like 500 spots. Like
crazy.
And if I remember texting you being like, thank God you told me to redo that, because I was coming off of a year with no redos where I was like, I don't need to redo anything. I literally would have kicked myself out of the open just like overnight.
Like that, yeah, dude. And so that was happening, I think, a little bit. The most recent time I experienced that, not me personally, again, just who I'm coaching, was team quarterfinals 2 years ago when they started like doing the open to semis and beyond. I think teams underestimated actually how difficult it was going to be to get to a quarterfinal slot and then to a semifinal slot. And like I think the first workout, I don't remember what it was exactly, but it was something fast like that. It was like a triplet where it was just like very easy reps. You go over and over again, and people are putting up like okay scores. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like people are going to move fast. Like you can't just be satisfied with it. And then teams were like just out of their season because they didn't expect
they didn't know.
But anyway,
they
didn't know. All right, cool. So like I said, the premise of the show is to go over some old media. When did you get into CrossFit? What year?
So I probably around 2010 is when I was like introduced to it. And then I was still playing college lacrosse. So I was literally only doing it like when I was home on winter break and then home on summer break. Like I had done I sprinkled some open workouts in there, but my first like real training was like 2013 and on when I graduated college.
Yeah. Okay. And I remember one of the things you always told me back in the day that stuck with me is like, you had a bad back injury and you like used CrossFit actually to fix your back injury.
Correct. Yeah. So like my mom was doing CrossFit. She was like, you have to try this. It's awesome. I was like, that sounds stupid. I'm not doing it. Tried it eventually. The first class, I think it had like clean and jerks in it. And I was like stopping and I was telling the coach, I was like, this hurts my back. And she was like, well, that's not normal. Like you need to check this out. Got an MRI, had like messed up disc problems, whatever. So I actually used CrossFit like personal training sessions with my coach to like rehab my back and get stronger and just do functional movement, which I never did. And that, got me better. I mean, it was awesome. So then I went
on to like a 550 pound deadlift or whatever you have.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy. I hurt myself in my college weight room doing box squats. My trainers at the time told me it was like a sprained back. Whatever. That's like, and I was like, okay. So I played with like pretty much, disc problems to my whole junior, senior year. And then finally got like imaging and was like, okay, you're pretty screwed up. And then luckily I got strong enough to like be able to compete at a high level. I mean, it was never great, as you know. It was always like any sort of heavy hinging workouts and high volume hinging would like crush me, but we made
high volume, but heavy, you made it work. Yeah, heavy.
I'd rather see a 500 pound deadlift than like 55 reps at 225.
Right.
So, but we made it work. But so that's how I started CrossFit. And then when I did start it, I kind of was just telling you, I got heavy into the journal because I was at school, not really training in an affiliate. So it's like, where do I go to like consume knowledge and CrossFit media? And it was just the journal. And so like when you started doing this, I was like, it resonated so hard because I was like, this is everything that I consumed, like learning how to be a CrossFitter essentially.
Yeah. And I find it sad that there's so much content out there now with like, everyone and their brother's a content creator, which is a good thing overall, but it's hard to navigate what the quality versus the trash is out there because everything's so clickbaity, right?
Yeah.
So we only had one place to go for our resource. We had to go to CrossFit.com, go to the journal, go to the old videos. YouTube wasn't really even a thing for us then. So we were learning everything direct from the source, right? And like I've been going back through the art. I was telling you, I've been reading back through all the articles starting from the first one. I'm going to go through most of them. And like even the old stuff that is not talked about. I mean, everyone talks about the what is fitness and all that stuff, but there's other articles in there. There's one I was reading about how to strategize for a sub 7 2K row. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's 3 pages. Glassman wrote it. It's brilliant. It's very simple to the point. And like he back then, before we know what a 2K really entails, we were talking, and I've been talking about the 2K since CrossFit posted about it the other day, but like that is such an important benchmark in your CrossFit fitness, being able to pull for a guy under 7 and then how far under 7 you can get. And but how often do you hear people talk about that anymore? It's just like never. It's just.
And it's funny you say that because we spent a lot of time together just trying to get meat. I mean, rowing was my biggest weakness.
Yeah.
Like relative to a competitive field. I mean, we trained for 4 years just to get me to a sub 7.
Yeah.
People don't understand like what it takes, like for some people, but
no. Yeah. Especially when you're not gifted with long levers.
It helps us in other areas though. So,
yeah, for sure. For sure. But anyway, so the old stuff, like people are just not even seeing it. So I'm going to donate my time on this journey to get people to start thinking about this older stuff, the new YouTube generation, people that started 2018, 2019, 2020 sooner, they're not even going back to see where this all came from. So like, hopefully this helps some people. But so let's talk today about one of the coolest things that I think ever came out from the CrossFit Games media, or CrossFit media is probably all the same back then. Team Again Faster versus Team Rogue Throwdown in Tahoe. For people who don't know what it was, basically Rogue, obviously everyone knows what Rogue is, but Again Faster was early on their equipment rival, right? So like John Gilson, I think out of Boston, Mass, created Again Faster. He was selling gym equipment as well, and the two of them were the big like equipment distributors at the time. And so they put together teams. They had all their sponsored athletes, and they had an Again Faster team and a Rogue team, and they all went to Tahoe with Castro, Bosman, Roy McKernan, Tony Budding. Savan documented most of it with a little media crew, and then a bunch of games athletes that probably people don't even know anymore, but we probably recognize.
I would say Again Faster is probably like the big brother in this at this time. I think
probably
like kind of up and coming, and like, oh, we should like get Rogue involved, and like little did we know that it was going to evolve into what it is now.
Yeah, you're right. I think it was probably its infancy at the time. Let's watch a video. We'll jump around a little bit, but just to give. Let's see, is this the one I want? Cool. All right.
7 at 95. That's all.
Oh, we got 1 minute. Let's go. About overhead. Whatever. I'll do it.
I just love this like editing style too. Like it was just done on whatever. Like
this is
computer at the time.
Documentary style, right? Yeah. It's not super produced. Like that's kind of what I love about it. So we'll turn it down a little bit while we talk. So the idea behind this is the two teams get to challenge each other throughout the weekend through like 15 to 20 events. The teams are built, Rogue versus Again Faster, and the team captain for Rogue, Bill Henniger, obviously the owner of Rogue. And then the team captain for Again Faster, John Gilson, the owner.
This is the first type 2 call out of the day. Remember, a type 2 call out is one of the athletes going to brief the workout. Then the team has to pick someone from their team to do the workout.
Weight stays on the bar.
I think I remember this workout too. They could run up a hill and like with logs and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, this is the thruster hill run, but it has a classic ending that I think you'll remember.
To it right there. That's 2 rounds. So 5 clutching thruster.
And I love how in true Dave Castro fashion, he has like a type 2 call out, like a rule book already
right
for this. Yeah.
He made it so official. Yeah, it's like so awesome, but so shitty at the same time. Yeah. It's fun. Like Tahoe, and I'm from Maine, right? So like the woods and the mountains are like similar. Tahoe, Maine, whatever. I was doing this stuff at the time. I was watching this going, let me get my friends together. We're going to go outside and we're going to create our own workouts and we're going to throw down. And yeah, we were doing this stuff in 2010. This is only 2 years into my CrossFit journey.
Yeah, this was classic CrossFit at its core. Go outside and just do stuff fast.
We're going to run from here to the fire hydrant and back.
Yeah.
As fast as you can. The 10 burpees. The standard of the burpee doesn't matter. You just do the burpees. Up, down. All right, let's see if we can get to the workout here. So they're briefing. Look at Froning on Team Again Faster.
That's the best part about this.
It is. He's got all his hair, no facial hair.
And I believe this was what 2010, I think, right? Like
2010.
after he got second, or is this before he got second?
I don't know if it's before or
Yeah.
after the games. That's a great question. And I bet a lot of people don't even know who Kristen Clever is, which is sad.
Which isn't crazy to think about.
I thought at least like.
All right, let's get to the workout.
Handle the weight and be something that.
5 squat clean thrusters, run to the tree and back 3 times.
5 squat clean thrusters, run to the tree and back 3 times.
No, we had 5. Dave changes the rules. I think.
All right, Pat Barber versus Chris Spieler. Let's get to it.
I think Pat Barber was like a hero in these events at this thing. He crushed it.
He was one of the first guys, I think, like him and Khalipa are 2 of the guys that really kind of spoke to me about what intensity is.
Yep.
Like these guys showed it. Like, and both of them got super sloppy with movements and shit, which was like, kind of the way it was back then. But it didn't matter. We were looking at, their will to move stuff fast and just suffer, just straight suffer. And that's what it is so much, is just like being willing to suffer.
And I see that now, even like in my workouts, being like out of it competitively, is I go back and watch my videos and I'm like, dang, I'm moving so slow, like relative to how I used to like just enter pain caves willingly. And these guys just do it. They just go head in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. I've never been competitive. I've always liked to do workouts and go hard or whatever. But like, I can think back to when I was, around this time in my early 20s and like really willing to just like go all out. I wanted to feel how bad I could hurt. Now I'm like, it hurts a little bit. That's pretty good.
Yeah. This is when like the term fire breather really meant something. Because you were chasing it. Yeah, I can remember watching this for the first time, just being in awe. Like,
actually, they're not even moving that bad for back then either. They're moving okay.
I think we'd have 2 pretty of the better movers right here.
You're right. But I also think that was probably one of the biggest separations of the sport at this time, was being able to move, right? There were a lot of guys that were willing to suffer, but a lot of guys who just had no skill and no like awareness. So I feel like, they were good movers, and obviously they're both seminar staff members and all that stuff. But I mean, there are probably plenty of guys who are willing to hop on a bike and sprint the way that Pat Barber is willing to hop on a bike and sprint. It's just that Pat did it a little better.
Yeah.
All right, this is where the action really heats up. Round 3, last round. See this energy right here. This energy. I'm gonna have to turn it down. The energy is so good.
And the funny part is, if you wrote this workout for someone, like 3 rounds, 5 squat clean thruster, and like a 200-meter run, people will be like, "Oh, that's it? Like that's all we're doing?"
That's right. And there with that mindset, it actually wouldn't be effective at all, because they wouldn't be willing, unless I said you have to like grab so-and-so and race them to the death. The stimulus would never be hit. But this is so cool. It looks like Pat's gaming him a little bit, and then downhill, game on. Whoever touches the barbell first wins. Head first into the barbell.
Like this is an exhibition match up in the woods. It's not even at the games.
No,
it's amazing.
He looked like he just took a hit from a linebacker for the first like 10 seconds after he pops up from the bar. Head first into the barbell. I think they replay it about 30 times too. I mean, that's the shit that just defined this time, though, and honestly defined the people that got into the sport and saw this. Like, is that smart and safe to run your head into a barbell? Like, hell no. But like, does that pump me up? Like, I'm willing to go do this workout right now if you're a game. Awesome. Like, let's do it.
Head first slide into the bar. Like, I don't know if his shoulder or his head touched.
That's just incredible.
It's the best. I love it.
We're looking for an angle, and we've decided we can't find an angle.
All right, so short story, they just continue to stare at the camera for another 5 minutes, and then the camera's so old they can't go frame by frame, and they call it a draw. But anyway, I thought that was just a absolutely fantastic video.
I like that. And there's I don't know, what's your other one that you have planned for the workouts? Do you have one in mind? The
one you had mentioned with the log flips and all that stuff. Yeah. Why do you have one?
There's a couple, like there's one that has rope climbs at the end that Pat Barber does like literally 5 rope climbs in like 20 seconds. And it was to win the event, I think. And it was pretty insane. And then there's another one, which is pretty cool. I think it's Hobart, maybe. It's in the gym with like pull-ups and either thrusters or pull-ups and like cleans or something. And it's true intensity. It's like pretty wild. It's like him versus Tommy Hackenbrook.
Yeah, it's burpees and pull-ups.
Okay.
And, yeah. So, and it's funny. It's a good one to bring up too, because they talk about it. Gilson talks about it after strategy-wise. So it's 3 rounds, 20 burpees, 20 chest to bar.
Yeah.
And they like full, like you said, full intensity. And by the end, they are both so messed up from going as hard as they can on that. And Gilson's like, I picked the workout. Like I made a huge error. I should have just made it 2 rounds because James still would have won. And now I can't use him for the rest of the day. He has to like go to the hospital. So he's like, they're like talking about like, it's so bad that we made that because it's so doable for those guys. So, but yeah, that's a good one too. Let's see. We'll pull this one up. Try to watch one more. And then we'll get into a little conversation about why we think that the media might be going a little wrong today.
Perfect.
I don't know if this is the right one. No.
Is it getting faster even around anymore?
I haven't seen them in the States.
Yeah, they're international now, right?
I think they're international. So I assume I haven't heard or seen from John Gilson in quite some time, but I assume he probably sold the rights to it.
Yeah.
But I would like to train. I'm telling you.
All right, let's get to it. So this is a partner workout. They do, I think it's shoulder to overhead, log flips and runs or something like that. But we'll just show a quick clip of it just to show kind of the fun shit they did back in the day. So it's funny is like, obviously those logs are not equivalent in size and effort to flip.
But it's funny because like, you know, the pig exists now and it's like
the little dog.
This stuff was here the whole time.
Almost crushed the dog. Ah! Yeah, that's right. So this probably, I mean, I won't say this inspired the pig. Obviously, I'm sure Dave had a whole bunch of his seal stuff that did that. But and I know the team switched logs at the end, so they both have to flip like the opposite log, so it's equal. But imagine having to start the workout with the heavy log and then play catch up the whole way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know which one I'd rather do. Do I want to start with the heavy log and then end with the light one because it's easier? Or is it you're already so smoked at the end of the workout that
it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it's just funny. But yeah, so they have a long one. They run, flip log, shoulder overhead. We won't watch the whole thing, but yeah, man. What are the videos back in the day kind of that like come to mind that fires you up?
Well, so I just think, like you said, anything with the journal, like, I love what they used to do with all of the workout. Do you remember they used to actually have the affiliates do the workouts on like the workout of the day, the what's it called, on the main site?
Yes, but I don't. How long ago was that?
It was forever ago. So this is like when I was still in college, like watching CrossFit videos, like you would log on to the main site, they'd have the workout and they'd have a video from that like it did the actual workout. And a lot of times like they would go to like games athletes gyms and stuff. So you'd get to see, you know, the games athletes at the time, like doing heavy days and doing like full metcons. And it was just so raw and like real that like, okay, I can do that. Like, that's attainable to me. It wasn't this like mystery fantasy land where like you're never gonna, it's not realistic. Like this is exactly what they're doing. And that stuff used to fire me up and really got me involved in like wanting to train CrossFit.
And I think the documentary style or the simplistic style they portray it in make it feel and seem doable. You're watching people do something and you're like, oh, they're doing this, I can do this. But you weren't really able to grasp how fit these people were doing it. They just made it seem very, very straightforward. And now everything is so overproduced and hyped. Like, everything. I think everything seems unobtainable now because of how like the production value that goes into it. Like when we watch movies, we can't put ourselves in a situation with a movie. It's like a story we're following. But if you watch a documentary, you're like, oh, I could have been standing on the street next to that guy. You feel like you could have been there. And I feel like that is one of the biggest disconnects when you're trying to use media to get people to try what you're showing. If you make it too good, it's like they're following someone else's story. If you make it simple and realistic, you feel like you could be in the story. And that's, to me, that's where they start to lose me.
Yeah, I agree fully. And I think like this stuff that we're watching right now, you know, obviously it's, you know, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, but the documentary style, like you and me could go film this today and like we could go do this outside. But yeah, I mean, it's not done for clicks. It was done to get CrossFit to CrossFitters.
Yes.
Which I think that like that aspect of it made it just so much more genuine and real to the people who are consuming the content.
I think you just summed it up perfectly. I think that's exactly it. There was no focus. There was some focus, but the main focus was to get content to CrossFitters. Yeah. And that's what it was. And now it's clicks and hopefully someone random in the fitness space discovers your video on YouTube and you get monetized from it. Like that's what it has become. And that's a problem, obviously. Yeah. Cool. All right. So speaking of all that, kind of leads me into my next point. And so no hate, but I want to point out like what we're actually working with now in terms of trying to get people excited for CrossFit. And so before I get into that, one more last thing. This is, 2 10-minute clips we're showing of people doing these workouts at this throwdown. If you want to search this on YouTube, there are 5 or 6 parts of this that are almost an hour long each, shot documentary style, and the workouts are actually sped through. So you just get like a snippet of what the workout was, the results, the score between the 2 teams, and they move on. And the rest is like a 5-hour documentary learning about the personalities of these athletes. You learn that Dave Lipscomb's a troublemaker right out of the gate. He's trying to mess with the other team. You learn who the shy people are. You learn who the loudmouths are. Like you learn about them, and now you decide who you like and who you want to root for. As opposed to now, every piece of content is so carefully fluffed to show only the perfect side of certain athletes because they have these sponsors that they have to uphold obligations to and all this. I don't know any of the new games athletes. I've met them. I've shaken most of their hands. I've run into them in competitions, but I don't know them. I don't know their personality at all. This opened up their personalities to the world. And so
1,000%. And before you just go to the next, to support that point, I feel like one of the reasons people in my, I guess, generation, I'll say, of competing really connected with like Froning being like, so amazing was because he was in these documentaries. He was in the behind the scenes, like what that Sevon did, like Graham Holberg and Rich Froning training. Those were like really raw, like in your face documentaries where you like got to know these people on a different level. And it wasn't him going on a sponsored podcast. It wasn't him like producing for like the Mayhem YouTube channel now. It was just like, this is what I do every single day. This is who I am. And I feel like that level of connecting more to those games athletes is why I feel like I know them so well. And I don't know any of the new ones, to your point, like at all. Yeah. And
I agree. I have in my life, with all the events I've been to, the amount of CrossFit games I've been to, and every other thing in between, I've never met Jason Khalipa in person. I've never shaken his hand and said, "What's up?" Like, thanks for everything you did for the sport. But I feel like I know Jason Khalipa. I know people he works with. I bet like MDV's his right-hand man, and I'm like tight with MDV. Talk to him. I've never met Jason Khalipa, but I know Jason Khalipa. But I would never say that about the new generation of athletes. I've run into them too, but I haven't met them and I don't know them. I know nothing about them. And I try to stay on top of this stuff. So it's like, it's a different world of presenting this, a whole different lens that people are seeing the sport through now compared to what we saw it through. All right. So let's look through the new lens really quick. All right. So first off, huge respect for what Heber and Marston did in the CrossFit space, producing all the CrossFit movies for years and years. Those movies, I think, even on Netflix, even though they're a newer generation, newer style, I think super well done. I think the hype, the drama they build with those, really good. All the stuff they did behind the scenes, I have a ton of respect for the guys. But the way that people consume content now has forced, in my opinion, these guys into a box of creating these videos with their Buttery Bros brand in a way that doesn't connect to me at all. It doesn't. We'll just watch a couple seconds of this and you'll know what I mean.
These are 10 of the fittest athletes on earth. We put them on 5 teams of 2, and they've been going head-to-head in a series of challenges. Previously on the show, we had a flipping fun workout, mud fights, and some obstacles at a tough mudder. Now, we're headed back to the gym.
Yeah, that felt like a Mr. Beast intro to me.
Welcome back to episode 2 of the Buttery Games. Right now, here is your current.
I mean, these two guys, I know they're dressed like that as characters for their show, but they made some of the best CrossFit content ever. And now this is what they're having to do.
I mean, how many views does this video have?
Like a lot. Like, 150,000 views.
Yeah. The thumbnails, the style of the intros, like that's what people click on now, and that's what YouTube pushes. So it's like like you said, you're almost forced into this box. If you want your content to be seen, you need to go along these lines, I think.
That's right. And I hate it. I hate it. And I don't know how you could, again, the video's well done. It's no hate towards the guys making it. It's no hate towards the athletes in the video. It is hate towards the way that people now need their attention and their entertainment to be consumed.
Yeah.
And this is not going to get you anywhere near the same level of passion, understanding, and give a shit factor that you would get from watching something like the Team Again Faster Rogue documentary, or watching some of the old journal videos, the demo videos, or anything. Like, if this is the way that you learn about CrossFit, I don't know that we're in the same world, even though we're both doing CrossFit.
No, I agree. Because this is just, it's very produced. It's done very, very well. It's produced very well, but that's what it is. It's produced. Like, I can imagine them talking about how they're going to get this shot done before they shoot it.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like they have to take this over to an exec at ABC who has to be like, oh no, that clip is too long. You can't show someone doing 10 thrusters in a row because they lose their attention after 4. So you have to different angle, different frame. I don't know what workout they're doing. They may have said it. I have no idea. I don't know who's winning. I don't know. Like, it's a TV show. It's not me understanding what's happening across. And again, I'm really not trying to hate on these guys. I'm hating on what the world has become more so.
Yeah, and I think like they're probably trying to market to people outside the CrossFit world, in my opinion, because there's a reason that people really wanted the Savan, like behind the scenes at the games back, because that connected with people more than the games documentaries. Both were done very well for what they were going after, but people really wanted that behind the scenes back because they felt like they were connecting with the athletes. And this is, this is more towards that movie style versus that straight documentary style.
Yep. And you're so right about that, because people are paying for Savants behind the scenes. They're willing to put money up for it. But that probably tells you, it's our generation or around there that's like excited for it, because we're looking for that content to consume that we can't find for free with the endless amounts of content. And we can only hear Hiller complain about so many things in a week before we don't want to listen to him anymore. I mean, I think Savan is understanding that. He's filling the void. He's got his podcast going, which is pretty damn entertaining. I've watched a few episodes of it. And, but yeah, I guess, again, we'll turn this off, just a trip down memory lane with some more of the older CrossFit content. So if you were in charge of CrossFit media, what kind of suggestions would you make to your people to put stuff out?
Yeah, so I kind of talked about it with you yesterday. We were texting back and forth, and they had a series done, and I'm sure you'll go through it at some point because you're going through all the content, but called Killing the Fat Man, which was, it was a series, and I found it just through the journal, and it was a guy, his name was Gary Roberts, I think it was, and he was starting CrossFit, and it was the journey to get him in shape. And as someone who was like, I kind of found CrossFit through the affiliate, so for me, I really connected. Like, it wasn't about the games at that point. It was about showing like what CrossFit can do for a normal person to get them in shape. And that like made me love wanting to coach, wanting to own a gym, which I eventually did. And like, I think that stuff is so much more well received by people looking, like 99% of people aren't going to the games. They don't care about, the top. So that I would think they would connect with that a lot more. And I would push journeys like that. And I mean, it's a big project, right? You're going out like 8-10 weeks maybe of planning and filming, but you create this content that people can truly connect to, and it's not just produced for clicks. It's produced for like true, this is what CrossFit can do for you.
Yeah.
So I would say stories like that, full workouts with affiliates again, things I think that did well for a reason. And CrossFit Media was on the rise and on the up for a while when they were doing this stuff. And I mean, I know the media team like doesn't exist anymore. It's very small, so it's tough. But those are the things that I liked. Do
you think the games and like the need to cover the games spoiled the media for like HQ itself and like in the affiliates? Like do you think that the games took too much of the resources from the media team away from CrossFit?
Yeah, I think from like a business sense, yes. Like, you know, your HQ sitting at home looking at a bottom line, you're like, okay, we spent this much on creating media for the games. We just don't have the resources to produce any more on the other side. Yeah. And so they had this battle of like, we don't want to be viewed as just the games, but we're spending 99% of our budget on the games, but it's also, you know, what's being well received. So they had this like internal battle, I think, that was what caused that implosion at one point when I think Greg just was like, I'm firing the whole media team. Like, this isn't working.
Well, and I know, because I've heard it from multiple people who knew Greg personally or knows Greg personally, that, you know, Greg used the games as essentially his entire marketing budget. Yeah. So his marketing for the year was just the games. And then at a certain point, he just felt like the games was not aligning with the message of CrossFit. And I have to agree with him. Like it's a great way to get people excited and fire me up. Like the Open is coming and I'm finding a little bit more of a flame for like my 14th year of being a part of it or whatever it is. And, but like, yeah, we lost the simple demo videos in the gyms. We lost the classic simplicity that I think just allowed us to connect in a more human level to things that wasn't so overly done and so unobtainable and unachievable. So yeah, I think we're on the same page there. We want to see stuff that we relate to better than just athletes crushing it, or maybe we want to relate to the athlete as a person and not relate to their scores on workouts.
Like I would love to see like a true like day in the life, like old school documentary video of games athletes. Like I think when, you know, the downtime of talking to an athlete between pieces, not just watching him front squat 405 and do Fran in 2 minutes. And then like, you just kind of get a clip of him drinking his protein shake because he has to give his sponsor a shout out, but really seeing, you know, how are you guys feeling between workouts? Like how is the stress of, you know, having to be at the top, you know, because that's the stuff that is real. Like, you know, even as an ex-athlete, I could talk forever about like the stresses and how it is coming down from being competitive and still wanting to be viewed as a good athlete, but you're not really there anymore. And I think there's a lot of people that could connect with that versus just seeing everyone's highlights, you know, that's just social media in a nutshell. But I mean, I don't know. I would love to see like the stresses and what's going through top athletes' minds on a day-to-day.
Yeah. Well, I think you reminded me of something that I'm going to hit on a future episode. We're going to talk about some of the forever like monumental moments that changed the direction of like CrossFit and CrossFit Games. But one of the things that we'll get into down the road is the day in the life of Rich Froning video that I don't even know what year. I'm going to guess 2014, 2015, maybe. I'm just throwing numbers out there. But that documentary was, I don't even know who did it. I don't know if it was CrossFit or him. I got to find it and watch it again. It's been years and years since I watched it.
There's been a few. Are you referring like there's been the Graham Holmberg and Rich Froning one, Day in the Life. Then
the one I saw, I don't remember what it is. I just remember that just a few things stuck out to me in terms of like how it changed everything. And I'll find it. I'll send it to you. But he showed how he was working out in the morning at the barn, having his food, to the gym, working out, having his food, went home, ate chicken salad, worked out again, you know, did whatever, changed. And then at night you went and did his like evil Fran workout or whatever. And I don't think that was BS. I think that was really a day in the life of Rich Froning. And people saw that and they go, wait, what? He trains 4 times a day, and that's how he's winning.
When Savon knocks on Rich's garage door at like 7 a.m, and he's already doing power cleans.
I think you're right.
And he's like, dude, I was supposed to film a day in the life. And it's like, sorry, dude, I like got up and wanted to work out.
Yes,
like,
I think that's the one. But that video, it's not what Rich did. It's that he showed everybody, or he gave the idea that everyone needs to train all the time. And that's, I think, single-handedly what started this programming boom and this like full-time athlete boom. Everyone was like, he's winning over and over again. He's training 4 times a day. That's the only way to do it.
1,000%.
Which is not correct, but you know, at the time,
that's what correct. What shifted it for sure.
That video changed everything, and so more stuff like that could continue to change the direction of CrossFit in the future. Go interview someone that only works out an hour to 90 minutes a day that's made the games a few times because they have a crazy life, but they just happen to be genetically gifted and very skilled. Like, go show what they're doing. But anyway, all right, another show, another time, dude. Thank you so much for coming on today. I'm starting to get a little rhythm with these things. I would definitely like to have you on again.
Whenever you need me, I'm here.
Yeah,
I can talk CrossFit forever. You know, I was an athlete, a coach, an owner. You know, so now I'm a member. I've been in every perspective. So I'd love to be back on.
You'll be back on again soon. Thanks for the shout out, Don. All right, guys, we'll see you later. Thanks, dude. See you.
Thanks, Seth.